Everybody loves themselves some Mark Harmon, and yet despite all that love, you don't hear much about the NCIS star in the tabloids. Here are some things you may not know about the man behind TV's Leroy Jethro Gibbs. In the early 1970s, the abilities Harmon displayed playing football at Pierce College in Oklahoma led to some high-profile offers from college squads. But according to Los Angeles Daily News, Harmon turned down a spot on the title-contending University of Oklahoma football team, instead opting to play for a school that was almost literally in his backyard, UCLA. And he turned out to be a real steal for the Bruins. In 1972, Harmon led UCLA to a 17-14 victory over Nebraska, breaking the Cornhuskers' unbelievable 32-game winning streak, as Pac-12 reported.
And at 18, having a chance to come out of that tunnel in front of 90,000 people, that was a dream come true.
Harmon's squad amassed a record of 17-5 over 2 seasons, and his numbers were good enough to get some interest from the pros, according to biography. But he turned down offers to focus on school instead.
I never had aspirations for that. I played with a lot of guys who did. 22 guys off the team I played on went on to some sort of a pro career.
He completed his communications degree, which, as an actor, he's actually used. Harmon didn't always want to be an actor. He felt the calling only after he tried out some other careers that he ultimately failed at, or just hated. When asked by a reporter from Men's Health what career he would have pursued if the whole acting thing hadn't worked out, Harmon said he'd have been a carpenter, adding, "I tried to do that, but I just couldn't get hired. I enjoyed getting up and doing that in the morning. I enjoyed the drive to work. For me, it was about materials and doing right." After that, Harmon said he moved on to what he called being a shoe salesman, but it was a bit more involved than that. He was a national sales rep for a major shoe company.
I worked for Adidas for about 8 months.
The job required a fair amount of travel, and it was then that he realized he had to get out. He explained, "I was coming back from Boston, and I was sitting next to a 33-year-old who was talking about trying to make pension at 65. He was drinking his second martini by the time we were wheels up. He was miserable in his job, and he was trying to maintain the job. I went home, got in my car, drove out to the place where I worked, and gave my notice." Most seasoned actors that are veterans of the medium of television don't attain that status with just one hit show that seems to last forever. Sure, Harmon has been playing steely, extremely competent Special Agent Gibbs on NCIS since the first term of the George W. Bush administration, but it's kind of a happily ever after type of thing. Casting directors love to book Harmon as the lead of TV shows, but his gigs up to NCIS were all relatively short-lived. Before his breakthrough role as Dr. Robert Caldwell on NBC's award-winning 80s ensemble medical drama St. Elsewhere, he appeared in multiple shows, including 240 Robert, in which he played a search and rescue guy for 13 episodes. He also portrayed a senator in the nighttime soap Flamingo Road. After St. Elsewhere, Harmon went elsewhere, and landed roles on even more TV shows, including the forgotten crime drama Charlie Grace. Harmon has been on television fairly consistently for the better part of 40 years, so why did he never go on to be a big-time movie star in the way other former television actors like George Clooney and Will Smith did? It's likely because he didn't want to, preferring the relative routine nature of television production. Movies generally film for a few weeks or months and might shoot anywhere in the world, which requires an actor to fly off and leave their family a few times a year. A TV series, however, is often taped at the same studio, week after week for an entire season of episodes. That was the better option for Harmon, and he made his choice during an emotional moment. A few months after Harmon's first child was born, he left his wife, Mork and Mindy's Pam Dorber, and their baby behind to jet off to New Guinea for a movie. The proud dad told CBS News in 2013, "And our oldest had just taken his first steps the day I left. And I came back 3 months later and he got out of the car by himself and walked up the sidewalk and grabbed onto my leg at the airport." In that moment, Harmon said he decided that the big movie paychecks were not worth it if it meant he would, in his words, miss all this. Wanting to stay close to home and family meant taking on TV work produced in the Los Angeles area.
If I gain strength from anyone or anything, it's my family.
Despite deciding long ago to focus on television, Harmon did star in a few major movies, including 1987's Summer School, a silly school-set comedy in which Harmon played a cool teacher named Mr. Shoop, tasked with helping a motley crew of high school flunkies from flunking out, all while trying to romance a co-worker played by Kirstie Alley. It's one of Harmon's only real film successes, and he almost didn't get the gig, because he actively tried to talk the director out of hiring him. Almost improbably, Summer School was helmed by a comedy legend, Carl Reiner, Turner, creator of The Dick Van Dyke Show and director of Steve Martin's The Jerk. If anybody has comedy instincts and can tell if an actor will be funny on the screen, it's Reiner, and he pursued Harmon for the lead in Summer School. Harmon in turn rejected his advances. He told the Daily Beast in 2014 that he tried to get Reiner to instead cast Tom Hanks because, as Harmon claimed, "I'm not funny." Of course, Harmon signed on to the film in the end. It's no secret that Harmon acts on a TV show where good guys save the day week after week, but he apparently applies his work to real-life situations. About 20 years ago, Harmon saved a kid's life after a horrific car wreck. According to CBS News, in January 1996, 2 teenagers got into a nasty car accident very close to Harmon's Los Angeles home. One of the young riders crawled out of the vehicle on their own accord, but the other was trapped in the burning automobile. Thankfully, Harmon approached the flaming wreckage with a sledgehammer, smashed a window with it, and pulled the boy to freedom, but not quite yet to safety. Harmon later told CBS News, "He was full fire on his back, so I put him down and got on top of him." The NCIS star successfully smothered out the flames. The boy was burned, but ultimately made a full recovery and went on to become a personal trainer in the LA area. It's been running for so long now and generated so many spin-offs of its own that it's easy to forget that NCIS was a spin-off itself. It began its life in 2003 as a show called Navy NCIS, and it came from CBS's military legal drama JAG. Both hit shows were created by prolific TV writer Donald P. Bellisario, but his impressive resume apparently couldn't save Bellisario's job from the wrath of Harmon. In 2007, Michael Osiello of TV Guide reported that Harmon couldn't tolerate the work culture at NCIS under Bellisario's command, or what a show insider called a chaotic management style. The show's lead actor resented routinely working 16-hour days, as well as Bellisario's tendency to, quote, micromanage everything, and not finish script pages until the last minute. In this battle of star versus showrunner, the star won. Bellisario resigned from his position on his own show. In 2018, Pauley left NCIS after more than 350 episodes as fan favorite forensic scientist Abby. At first, it seemed like the actress was simply ready to move on.
I hope I'm not wrong, but I think that I've earned a little bit of time to myself.
But that wasn't quite the case, or at least not entirely. After her last episode aired, Perrette tweeted the alarming news that she'd endured, in her words, multiple physical assaults on set. Perrette didn't feel safe at work from those alleged incidents, as well as the time Harmon allegedly brought in his pit bull Dave in October 2016. According to sources that spoke with Radar Online, Dave reportedly bit a member of the crew with such ferocity that the tech had to get 16 stitches. The insiders claim that Harmon was, quote, obviously horrified and left Dave at home after that, until one occasion when his dog-sitter plans fell through. Harmon allegedly arranged for the dog to hang out in his trailer all day, and the cast and crew were reportedly fine with that, except for Perrette. The on-set source alleged that Perrette was furious that the potentially dangerous dog was back on set. She reportedly, quote, refused to listen and started shouting when Harmon tried to explain the situation. She then allegedly wouldn't shoot any scenes with Harmon and wouldn't even sit near him at the table read, giving him the silent treatment whenever he tried to talk to her. Way back in 2002, about a year before he began his long stint portraying Gibbs on NCIS, Harmon had a role on another highly watched broadcast TV drama with a loyal fanbase, NBC's presidency saga The West Wing. Harmon appears in the final 4 episodes of the series' 3rd season as Simon Donovan, a Secret Service agent assigned to protect the White House press secretary after she receives death threats. That professional relationship quickly developed into a personal one, as romantic sparks fly between the pair. But, spoiler alert, this love wasn't to be. In the 3rd season finale, Simon was shot and killed while attempting to stop an armed robbery. Fans of The West Wing and Harmon were left broken-hearted, and so were some members of the show's crew. The West Wing creator Aaron Sorkin told The Hollywood Reporter in 2014, when setting Mark up for his last scene, the women who placed the squibs in the suit were quick to point out to me that they put them in places where he could survive, and they let me know if I didn't want my tires slashed, he'd survive. Sorkin refused to give in to crew members' request to let Simon live, though he added, things in stories have to happen for a reason. In November 2011, the USA Network interrupted its regularly scheduled programming of reruns of Harmon's NCIS to air Certain Prey, a made-for-TV movie starring the series' very own Mark Harmon. It was based on one of author John Sanford's Prey crime novels. of which there are more than 20 about Minneapolis Deputy Police Chief Lucas Davenport. According to the New York Times, it seemed as if USA was looking for a recurring crime movie franchise fronted by a bankable popular TV star. Similarly to how CBS had installed Magnum PI and Blue Blood star Tom Selleck in its Jesse Stone franchise. But this side project turned out to be a one-hit wonder for USA, as no more Prey movies with Harmon were produced. In fact, the 2011 flick marked the last time Harmon portrayed anyone on screen besides his NCIS character, which he claims to have no complaints about.
I don't think any show is forever, and I think that they all end at some point. But for right now, this is a really pleasant place to work.
However, in late 2018, CBS announced that it would revive the Prey concept, with Harmon again on board, this time as an executive producer. Check out one of our newest videos right here, plus even more Nicki Swift videos about your favorite celebs are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.